Okay, guys, we are back for the final kind of basics video on all of this kind of adding in our own kind of functionality with MotionBuilder UI being the trigger. Um, in this video, we're going to do something which I think is really cool and certainly helped me to develop a couple of really interesting tools in MotionBuilder. To give you a bit of preface for this, back when I was kind of figuring out all of this stuff and back when I was trying to learn about, how I can really delve deep into MotionBuilder, I had some kind of, pie side knowledge and stuff like that, but I started to get to a point where I needed to get information from what the user was doing to MotionBuilder natively. And for the longest time, I just felt like it was impossible or I couldn't. Notoriously, the documentation for all things to do with MotionBuilder and Python is terrible at best. So when I stumbled across these kind of concepts and started to try and figure things out, yeah, when I figured this one out, this was the one that sent the ball rolling for everything else. And yeah, we're going to be looking at FB Evaluate Manager and synchronization of events inside of MotionBuilder. More specifically, getting back feedback from the timeline instantly as a variable so you can do stuff with it in your UI. It saved me so much hassle once I've kind of figured this thing out. So, we've just got our standard script here. I've left in the register and unregister. Why not? You know what we're doing now, don't we? So what I'm going to do is, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to redefine app, because without that we can't do our on file merge. So app equals FB application. You damn right it does. And we're also going to start working with FB Evaluate Manager. Now, I haven't used this enough to be able to think of a small three-letter acronym that kind of kind of summarizes this. I've used man in the past. I think today I might use eman. Why not? FB Evaluate Manager. There we go. And we're just going to do our standard sanity checks. There we go. E-Man, there it is. Sweet. Right then. Oh, I love this one. It's going to take a little bit of setup, but it's fantastic when it starts working. So what are we going to do? We're going to do E-Man on, and we're going to be looking for synchronization events. So you can see we've got unbind there, and we've got on rendering pipeline event. You go and look at that and do whatever you want with it. But synchronization event is the one which is like, wow, this is the beautiful one. So the way that I understand that the synchronization event manager works, on synchronization event as a function, is that whenever MotionBuilder needs to synchronize everything up in the scene, again, this sounds like sucking eggs, right? But it's just worth going over it. Whenever it has to synchronize everything in the scene, and by synchronize, I mean, hey, the timelines move forward, therefore you need to update the animation inside of the scene. You need to make sure the properties are valid for the thing that is currently selected and have also updated. You need to render everything properly. I believe that on synchronization event is the key that kind of holds the information to all of that stuff, right? And once you start to understand that, that's when you can start to realize, wait a minute, the timeline is definitely something that is being used as a key point here to synchronize everything. So I should be able to get back that information. And it's not that we even get it back from MotionBuilder natively. All that we do is wait for this synchronization event to trigger. And when it does, that's when we try and get the timeline information. It's quite beautiful. I think it is anyway. I love this kind of stuff. I think that sometimes code can be very elegant, and this particular instance, it bloody well is. Right, okay, so we're going to need a control, and we're going to need an event. We've learnt that by now. So let's get the control and the event in there. And let's also get our unregister in there. So we're just going to set up our add there. And we're going to set up our remove at the same time. Remove. Remove the synchronization event. Cool, that's awesome. The next thing that we're going to do is we're actually going to look at what synchronization events actually happen, right? So let's just print event.action at the moment. Let's just do that. I believe that's what we can start with. And we'll do event.plug, why not? We might have to put this in a try and accept, because we're not always going to get a plug, and we're not always going to get, yeah, we're just not always going to get a plug. So we're going to want to put it into a try and accept. So even if we don't get a second entry for the print, we still get some kind of feedback back for us to be able to look through visually and pass through and then make changes ourselves. So everything is set up there, good to go. Let's just clear the console. Let's hit play. And nothing seems to be happening, right? That's absolutely fine at the moment. We don't need to worry about that. Nothing seems to be having to work or do anything, right? Now let's just do a file merge very quickly. And at the same time, let's, what's a good way of going about doing this? Let's just try printing back the event.action, because I don't like the idea that we're not showing anything. I'm looking at some old notes that I've got here for how to go about doing this. So let's just do the event.action, and let's just see if we get anything back from that. I know a very specific case as to how we use this, but at the same time, FB evaluate Kuba got no attribute action. Oh, okay. So action isn't actually a thing inside of. Let's just print back event. Let's just print back event. Sorry, I could have been totally. I could have been totally wrong with the whole kind of. Okay, that's what I was expecting. This is a synchronization tick. This is what this is. This is breaking MotionBuilder slowly but surely. Let's do a file merge. Yeah, so that was synchronizing on every single tick, right? So what do we actually want to do then? So what we want to do is we want to ensure that we are doing something responsible with that tick which is coming through, with that constant synchronization which is going on. And the way that we do that, and I'm just going to go straight into this whole timeline thing because it's really cool, is first off what we're going to do is we're going to make a reference to the previous frame. Previous frame equals 0. Let's just say the previous frame equals 0, right? It's going to change at some point soon anyway. And in our synchronization event, because we need to be able to access that previous frame, we're just going to make a global of previous frame. And that is going to allow us to access that variable inside of this function. Jobs are good. And the next thing that we're going to do is something pretty damn standard, if I'm being honest. We're going to get the current frame, which you'll find this a dime a dozen all over the internet as to how do I get the current frame in Python and MotionBuilder. And we're just going to do an FB system dot local time dot get frame. Okay. So what we've got here is a synchronization event, which you see, it goes crazy, a synchronization event, which is constantly going to be looking for the current frame, okay? So let's just try this out for starters. We're not printing it. That's why. I got a bit worried there for a second. Let's just merge back in our clip there to clear off everything. Whew! Okay. Sorry, I get quite excited about these things when they work and get a bit worried when they don't work. So let's just go for this now. And there we go. Okay, so we're on the synchronization now of MotionBuilder. It's going crazy. And we've just got that 0 frame, right? So I'm just going to do a file merge in order to clear that out and to get that all done and dusted. Cool. Right then, so we need to actually do something with this current frame to make sure that we're not just constantly synchronizing MotionBuilder and having it constantly print something back. We need to parse the information so we can actually do something useful with it. So check this out, right? What we can do, if current frame, you're going to no, it's not in memory. If current frame does not equal previous frame, then previous frame equals current frame. So what we're doing with this is we're saying, hey, previous frame become current frame, essentially. And also print current frame. Now, why this is important is we are now going to be able to store current frame on a variable, which we can then use inside of, again, a UI, a pi side, 2 UI, a pi side, whatever UI we want to. And we're also going to get instant feedback from MotionBuilder to say that not only has the frame changed, but what frame it's currently on. Meaning that if you ever needed to parse data on a curve, say, for example, which is the exact reason that I did this, you can find that information based on the frame that you're currently on. And if you're looking for just like an x-axis or something like that, it's very, very quick. But what you'll notice is, as we come into this, because current frame doesn't equal previous frame originally, no, sorry, current frame does equal previous frame. It will pass over this. It's got nothing to do. It doesn't need to do anything. But the second it changes, because it's on a synchronization event, the synchronization of MotionBuilder will notice, hey, current frame is no longer previous frame. 1 is not 0. Therefore, make the 0 into a 1, so that becomes previous frame. And we don't mean previous literally, we mean previously in time, not previously on the timeline, just previously in time itself. Then print back the current frame, which is technically a variable callback of what we need. So if we hit play now, nothing happened, right? Don't worry about it. Every single time we come through here, we're getting it, right? Now, this is actually quite interesting because whenever I do this inside of MotionBuilder 2018, I don't necessarily get this this kind of stuttering effect that you're seeing here. I'm actually just double checking the code right now to see whether it is something which nope, nope, it is something that I do not get in MotionBuilder 2018. Whereas in 2020, it seems like something that I do get, which is pretty interesting. Maybe there's something to do with the evaluation itself that it doesn't necessarily like. As I say, this is the exact same code that I've had running in 2018, and it's absolutely fine. So I've just restarted MotionBuilder, and yeah, it certainly seems to be doing the whole kind of shaky shake thing here. This did not happen in 2018. I normally do all of my stuff in 2018. So what I'm tempted to do right now is I'm going to jump over to my machine, my other machine, to show you it working in 2018, and that it doesn't have this crazy effect. So give me 2 seconds, and I will show you that there. So, could you believe it, guys? The code that I've been showing you in 2018 is absolutely fine and gives us no kind of weird refresh stuff here whatsoever. So, it seems like a lot of the stuff which I've been having issues with UI-wise, which well, I've already posted on the Autodesk forums, could actually be a little bit deeper rooted than just how they're actually doing this stuff, and how they're actually loading this stuff in. But you can see in 2018.2 everything is hunky-dory, everything moves through super lightning fast, and we don't get any slowdown or anything like that. So just another reason to stick with 2018.2 at the moment as opposed to 2020. Well, there you have it anyway, guys. That's a little bit of an introduction to how you can start to use these things for getting some kind of feedback from MotionBuilder. Again, we both kind of learned something together there that 2018 just seems a little bit more stable from a couple of different UI points. There's already a thread on the Autodesk community that I've started posting into about UIs not loading up from the get-go in MotionBuilder 2019 or 2020. And it seems like little things like this that used to be capable in 2018 and 2018.2 seem to give you a little bit of a bit of a headache when you start to try and actually come through this, and I don't know if this is just like an FB evaluate which is kicking off every single frame or something, but yeah, the synchronization event really kind of kills the UI, not the UI, the scene, for whatever you're doing. And again, over in 2018, because we specifically use this with, say, like a rig in the scene and stuff like that, absolutely no slowdown, no issues whatsoever. So it's a bit of an interesting one, right? But yeah, hopefully you've kind of learned something from these videos. Hopefully you've kind of got something to take away from them, and just hope that yeah, this has helped someone somewhere. So if you did like what you see and you want to see a little bit more of this stuff, please just put me a comment below. If you've got any motion builder problems, I'd be happy to try and help out. But ultimately, yeah, I'm just going to keep poking at motion builder, getting it to do things that just are weird and wacky and wonderful, and hopefully kind of, impart this information to people so they can actually go and do stuff with motion builder, as opposed to try and look at some documentation that feels a little bit half baked. So yeah, with that being said, yeah, I hope you've enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next set of video, guys. Till next time.